Recording in progress.
Okay, welcome everyone. This first class of the spring term, and we've got a lovely, exuberant forsythia to kick us off. I do have a quote for everybody from Leonardo da Vinci. It was a piece of paper found in his bedroom. These are his words. Short, almost like a prayer. May it please the Lord, light of all things, to show me the ways so that I might paint light worthily. So Leonardo wishing to paint light. And that's sort of what we're all about.
Mm-hmm.
I want to...
Is that what he did before starting those autopsies?
Probably.
Figure out where the ligaments and everything were?
Since it is our first class, I want to go over a couple things with you. I've got the my value sketch here. And I want to point out that I've divided... Kim, can you see this monitor here? I've divided my values into 1 being the lightest, 2 being a light gray, medium tone, and then down to the dark. So when you look at my value sketch, my darkest areas are going to be around the forsythia bush, the dark side of that shed. And obviously the lightest areas are up in the sky and some of the grass in front. So that's that. Did you find it, your sketch?
My sketch? Sure.
Yeah, good.
Of course I did.
All right. I want to describe my palette. Bill, you've got the palette up for people? I've got the colors I'm going to use today. I have 3 blues, ultramarine and cerulean, which are my go-to. And I may use a little bit of phthalo blue, but that's a tricky one. Alizarin crimson and cadmium red are my 2 reds. And I have Windsor yellow, New Gamboge yellow, and raw sienna. Raw sienna is kind of a sort of a brownish color, but I count it in my yellows. So basically I have 2 or 3 of each of the primaries. At some point I may use a toothbrush or a credit card or the back edge of my chiseled 3/4 inch brush. So, and if you don't have a toothbrush, don't freak out. If you're at home, you can probably grab one from the bathroom. But if we're here, we can share brushes that might be in the studio. All right. So, everybody at home, if you would please mute yourselves, because were you to cough or a dog were to bark in your home, my picture would disappear and everybody would see you at home, and I don't think you're going to want that. But while I'm telling you to mute yourself, please at any time in the classroom or at home, if you have a question, unmute yourself and just ask away, whether I'm painting or whatever. I'm here to help you learn how to paint. And if you don't hear me or you want something repeated, I'm happy to help you out with that. And I know there are about 4 people who will watch the video and they're not in person, but I'll try to cover everything pretty thoroughly. All right, so painting light to dark. The lightest thing in this painting is what? The sky. The sky, and then this little bit of a road, sandy road in front. The next lightest is probably the forsythia. I'm going to get into that pretty early. The darkest, as I've already said, is that shadow over on the left and the shadow behind the barn, the shadow side of the barn. So that will almost be the last thing I paint. So light to dark. Okay, I'm going to paint. I'm just going to put... and don't try to keep up with me. Just watch me. I will paint for, I think, this first one for about 2.5 minutes. And then I'll stop and I'll let you all at home or here in the gallery paint. So I'm going to take and I put a little bit of color on my brush just so that if it was just clear water, you wouldn't see a damn thing. But this is...
You're actually cutting off the area.
The top?
Yes.
Shoot. I got to get a little bit higher up then, don't I? Oh.
And put it
Well, let me tip it a little bit this way. There. Now I'm cutting off some of the bottom. Well, that's all right. Sky, and don't try to keep up with me. Just watch, Judy. Uh-oh, I got some color on my thing. I'm not gonna let that bother me. Okay, I'm gonna take this right down, right over my trees. I'm gonna go right up to that green hillside with water. And I'm putting water down so that when I put the paints on, it'll flow nicely. So you're just watching me now, putting just clear water. Wow. And I'm going sort of around the forsythia, going around the roof of this shed. And that, and that, and that, and that. And there we're done. I'm about done. I'm going right down to this little parking lot down here. Oh, the heck with it. I'll go right on down the road. So basically, and I have this little path that goes in here, and I've got a couple step stones in there. Okay, so now I'm going to take, the first color I'm going to take a little bit of my Windsor lemon. I'm going to throw it on the sky in the back to create kind of a morning glow. Let that sit there. I'm going to put a little bit more there. It didn't seem to. Come on, let's get this thing. Gotta get my colors to wake up this morning. Oh, Rudy, you want to come up here? Come on up here. Now I'm going to grab my cerulean blue. Judy, do you usually have a laptop or not?
No, I don't usually.
Okay. Cerulean blue and ultramarine. Right across the top, I'm going to be painting. I'm adding a little bit more color. I'm going to be painting this mix of cerulean blue and ultramarine and go around some of this forsythia stuff. And as I bring the blue down, it's getting lighter. This is called a blended wash. And I'll go right to there. Now I'll just take this bluish color. Again, I'm going around my forsythia sections. And I'm coming down that mountainside. Ooh. And I'm going to add blue and a little bit of alizarin crimson. I sort of feel like it's dark in here. It's dark outside, I guess. Yeah, and here's my sandy driveway. Thank you. Forgot the word.
Right. Where the Jeep that nobody knew was there.
Right. And I noticed a couple of stone.
Oh, that's what that was.
Yeah.
A little footpath to the Jeep that nobody knew.
Yeah. I kind of didn't want all that there, so I'm going to use that to pull it away. And I think I'm going to stop right there. Okay, and I'll let you guys, again, I'd say 60% of my painting has some color or at least some wet paint on there. So off you go.
What brush were you using, Ned?
I use putting it in the camera here. It's a pretty wide. It's about a 1-inch soft camel's hair, flat camel's hair brush. Good question, Nana. Dirty trick, but while you were painting, I'm going to paint this bottom sill of the barn because it's sort of a cement thing. I'm painting it the same color as the driveway.
Is this more of an ultramarine or?
Ultramarine and
then
cerulean.
cerulean, okay.
Yeah. Oh, and I'm also going to, well, I got this
Or
lights,
what do I care?
and I'm actually going to, dirty trick, I'm actually doing the rocks now too with this very, very light tone, the same tone that I used on the road. I'm just going to put into the foundation of the building and the rocks because they're not white. They've got a little bit of tone in them, and I may as well drop that color in. I know I'll make some of them darker later.
Ned, what color were you using on the rocks in the road?
Is ultramarine and a little bit of alizarin crimson. It's basically kind of a very, very light purple. Sure.
Ned, but you didn't wet the rocks before you did that.
I didn't because I just sort of suddenly thought about it. It's just such a small area, I didn't really need to wet it. And once you put your colors down, resist the temptation to go back and touch them again.
Yeah, sure.
That,
Say that earlier.
oh, whoops. And then you get all these crazy brush marks and which you might not want.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Act like you know what you're doing.
We can try.
We should have a whole class on how to fix mistakes.
Yeah. That would be great.
Yeah, people
How
will
do you
sign
think I
up.
came up on using pastel?
So watercolor is all about painting yourself into problems and then getting yourself out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I got that part.
Yeah, I think we all did that point. At some point. Nice yours.
I'm with you, Steve. I'm working up a sweat.
Yes, no, it's getting warm in here.
Which red did you use?
Was that?
Did you use a
A
alizarin?
little bit of lizard, yeah, just to purple the
Just the
yeah, the road, I guess.
Just the jazz. More gray than
That
purple.
was fun.
Okay, so don't, if I give you more time, that doesn't mean you always have to have the brush on the paper. If you've done, just stop. Don't fiddle, don't touch.
That's where you muck it up.
Knowing when to stop this.
That's
Yep.
when you mess it up.
And you tie your hand behind your back. Okay, I'm going to start on, while this road is a little bit damp still, I think, I'm going to put in the grass, the pale grass, and then I'm going to go to the forsythia, and that's my main actor. So the grass, I think, is fairly, I'm going to take a brush, and I'm just going to paint water, maybe I get my bigger brush, on the areas that I see as grass. Down on either side of that little, here we go, in front, there we go.
You're going through that big shadow.
Yeah, I'm going right through that big shadow, yeah. I'm gonna put another color over that later. I'm going right up the side here. There we go. So,
Oh, cool.
taking a pretty big, so when my winds are yellow and aureolin Windsor yellow and a little bit of cerulean blue. And let's see how this looks. Okay. You'll learn that watercolor always dries lighter than when you, like that looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Did you wet that?
I did just finish wetting it.
Okay.
And if I think it looks really good, I'm gonna just darken it by a little bit more. I'm going right through the bottom of that fence thing. Oh boy, the color is running out. I feel like a fountain pen that needs refilling. Okay, put more color down here. And I'm coming right up. Okay. Go around the irregular edges of the bottom of the stones. I'm going to go straight across here. It's almost like a horizontal line. Okay, so there's my grass. And again, this is easy. You're just filling it in. So don't start to do it because I'm about to do the forsythia. Before I finish the grass, I'm going to take a little bit of right at the edge of the grass. The light is coming from the left, so right at the edge of the grass, it's going to have a little bit of some little dark edges here. Not on both sides, but just kind of ragged because nobody came through here with a weed eater or something. So there's that. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to let that go. Okay, now here we go with the forsythia. Now this is like I said, this is my main. This is the reason I took the picture. It's the reason I want to do this painting. And I'm going to take my aureolin and okay, now almost like a pogo stick, I'm bouncing this brush around. Sometimes I'm leaving holes. Sometimes I'm filling them in. Like I can't make this like pointillist. So I'm making. I love these little fronds coming out from down here. Boom, boom, boom. And when I have a chance to break across a line like that line of the building, I do. I love breaking lines. Keeps this looking kind of flowy and fresh. And what people like about watercolors is it looks spontaneous. Like, oh, it's effortless, right? Oh. Okay, so I'm putting a little bit down in here. I'm looking at my picture. I see structure. I see some fronds coming up. Oh boy, oh boy. Now we got a big, okay. A nice big, going way up there into the sky. This one going up, crossing the roof line. Yeah, come on up, Kim, if you want. And I am leaving some holes in the middle because I may be doing a dark red in there. Let's go with some more lemon yellow. And there's a huge chunk of it up here. Wow. Okay. And if it blurs into the sky, that's okay. Hey, how are you? And this I'm going to do all one big color. Like, I'm filling that in.
You said Windsor yellow?
Windsor
Your
yellow.
aureolin?
I'm using my aureolin, but
Right.
it's discontinued, so I'm not going to say
Right,
that
but it could
word.
be cadmium or anything,
It could be a cadmium yellow also, yep.
as opposed to a gamboge that
Right.
does.
Well, that's going to be a little.
Stuff.
So now this, Let's see, break that up. Now this, oh look at these, oh my God, look at this. Okay, and there's some more down in here. That looks good. Okay, now, pay attention. I'm gonna get the right-hand side of this is a little bit darker because it's away from the sun. So I'm gonna throw in some raw sienna here. But the top part is still very bright, so I'm leaving that. This is the baby poop yellow, yep. So I don't want this yellow to just be one color and a big cutout like a collage, but I want it to have a little bit of form. So I'm adding a little bit of yellow raw sienna to the right hand side. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pull that out. Okay, boom, boom. Remember, I've got to paint in between all these things later on, so
Yeah, they're painting.
okay, we're doing pretty well. We'll put a couple more fronds there. Okay, I'm gonna leave it at that. I mean, you could fix away all day, but
Breathe.
I'm almost like I said, almost like a pogo stick. I'm just popping around, following those fronds up.
Right, but you're also leaving little puddles there too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's nice and exuberant. Beautiful. Hey, how are you?
Ned, so far you only use one brush, right? You,
Well, I use a big brush to put the water down, but yeah,
And then you just use one.
sort of a middle-sized brush.
Okay.
Kim, before you get too in love with what you see on the screen, make sure you're seeing what he's doing in reality.
Oh, okay.
Because that's what
Thank
the
you.
video is going to look like.
Oh,
I'm shooting the video with just regular straight video, none of the Zoom stuff.
okay. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah. Okay. A lot to take in.
That's fine.
Yeah, you just keep that in the back of your mind.
Oh shit. I'm going to take a scrap of paper and I'm going to put a little bit of this same yellow on here, and later in the class I will be doing something with this, but I want the paint to be dry, so I'm knocking it off now. There's that. So I'm not really trying to make forsythia out of this, but I'm just going a little bit crazy here. So if you have a chance to do a little color patch of yellow on a separate piece of paper, or even sketch pad paper, that would be good, while you have the yellow out. Okay.
Ned, Barbara,
Yeah.
curious why you didn't do that hillside, the little green part that matches the grass.
Over here?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm going to do a different green with that. I see it as a little bit more intense. I see this is fairly sun bleached down here, and this is a little stronger green. So I could have done it, but yeah, there are a lot of ways to skin the cat.
But we're skinning cats.
Oh, don't say that.
fiddle too much? You're
Yeah,
good?
yeah.
All right. So I'm ready to start. Let me get back to the microphone. All right, I'm ready to start on the next section. And let me just explain some things. As I look at the source photograph, the next lightest thing is what?
Side of the barn.
I think it's the side of the barn, or I'm going to want to make it the side of the this hillside in the distance behind the barn is fairly light, but I don't want a very light color way over there. It's where that Toyota Jeep is or something. I don't want our attention to go over there, so I'm with you, Barbara. The light red is really, you can almost feel a reflection of light off there, where parts of it are almost white. So I'm going to tone the shed with just some water first, so that when I put the color down, I can really just push it around. I'm going to go right through that shadow, but I am going to go around the window. I like the white trim on that window, so I want to keep that. I'm going to go right across the bottom. This is that big door. Okay, and I'm just going to go right up to the edge. I'm not going to go into the shadow side of this shed. By the way, this shed is on the property of the oldest house in the village in Vermont, and the house is to the left, but I think the shed must have been an old horse barn. And it's just, I almost love the shed more than the house. It's just such a lovely little piece of Americana. Okay, I'm using Windsor Red, which is a pretty strong red, and some raw sienna. And I'm going to try those two, and I'm going to put it down and just see how it looks. That looks okay. Okay.
Windsor Red and
Raw sienna. The Windsor Red by itself is almost too much fire engine, but the raw sienna takes some of it out. Now, as I go up here, I'm going to be making a ragged edge, because this is a corrugated roof, so it's not a straight line. Actually, I'll be putting a shadow in here later on, but okay. Here we go. Ooh, down here.
avoid the windows.
Avoid the window. Go across there. And now as I come into the forsythia, the red is almost the same value as the forsythia. So there are times when they almost bleed into each other, and if that happens, so be it. It's a very light yellow and a very light red. Okay, I'm putting the red right above that foundation area. Oh, this is coming along great. What a fun thing to do on a gloomy gray morning in April. Okay, I am going around these little fronds here. Get a good straight line there. I don't want little white specks sticking out, or I don't, but you might. Okay. So funny.
It's not the first you said that.
Is that right? Yeah. Is that's all I'm doing on this little? Yeah, I'm gonna stop there.
And you did wet it first?
I did wet it, yeah. So the paint really blends, and then I'm not scrubbing, and
Right.
it's got a nice fresh feel.
What was the red you were using?
It's Windsor Red or cadmium red, and the raw sienna.
Or whatever you like. It's your barn.
It's your world, right?
Right.
Were you gonna make it purple?
What do you use for the barn? In the right side?
I used cadmium red,
Oh, that's right.
the bright red,
Yeah.
and the raw sienna.
Okay. That's for the barn, yeah?
Yeah. Yep. So Rudy, you might want to take your sponge and
Yeah.
let's just clean this off, because
Yeah, I don't know, yeah, okay. that's
that way
what-
you get a fresh,
Ah,
then you get
yeah.
a new spot to paint.
That's what that one is. Yeah. That's what it is, yeah.
can't make a mistake.
Oh, yeah.
Like I just did now.
Who cares?
I just wet my window.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Oh, keep it all. I'm going around that.
Well, done.
Wasn't that the only thing we had to paint around, Emil?
I know, the only thing we had to paint around, I know.
And then you went.
I went ahead and painted the damn thing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's all right. It's called, not paying attention.
Yeah. Honestly.
Yeah.
I can see that, yeah.
So,
Just
I like Hudson.
resist the extra back and forth. Just
Oh.
put it down and leave it.
Class on Saturday.
And we will be placing some lines out here for the
Hudson Tahoe.
You know,
Clapper.
Plank Road.
Yeah, I see.
Newburgh,
Okay.
Windsor area.
Okay, just leave
Just-
it.
Plank Road.
Yeah,
You
you're
can
fine.
find all kinds of restaurants.
Don't go over your
Hey,
boundaries.
I have a question.
Yeah.
It's probably dumb, and but I actually don't know. When you're like picking up colors from your palette using the same brush, do you dip it in water to clean the brush?
No, I don't. That's a very good question, and if I'm making a yellow, I dip the brush into the yellow, put it on the palette, and then without even cleaning the brush, I dip it into the blue.
That's what it's.
Okay, and then later on you just clean the palette and you clean
Yes.
the paint, little paint holders.
Yeah, yes, or and the mixing. Well, no, the paint holders. I don't. I leave the paint in there.
Oh, okay, so like one of these things, you
Yeah.
just like dip, brush in, and you just leave it.
Yep.
It's all.
Yep. So those are Dahlia. Those are pan paints, aren't they?
Yeah, I'm actually not using them. I'm afraid to hold up the ones I am using.
Okay.
I used them out of tubes.
Oh, those
into
are
the-
those are the best. That's what you want.
Yeah, that's what I'm actually using. The pan paints, they don't come out dark.
I
They're really
agree.
awful.
I agree. I don't like them
Yeah.
much at all. No.
Quite bitter. Yes. And it was a sommelier set too, you would think. Okay, but all right, but the whole point is I can leave the dirty brush in the pan.
You
No
just
need to
dip
worry.
right into one and the other. And sometimes if it's yellow, sometimes I'll dip my brush into a different side of the yellow, but like whatever.
Cool. All right.
Yeah. No, that's a good
But
question.
Ned, I have to say, Ned, I've observed that you're an expert at not getting paint number 1 into paint number 2 when you're dipping. Because when I dip, it all smears in there, which is a big
Maybe I'm doing this without. There's my yellow. Boom. Grab my blue. No. Yeah, Barb. I just dipped into yellow, grabbed a little bit, put it in my palette, and then I take without doing anything. I just stick it in a corner of the blue, like I'm like underneath it, kind of. I don't know. You guys are making me all self-conscious.
I do this stuff.
It's a discipline.
It is.
All right, so we just did the red thing. That was not a tricky section to do. So I'm ready to kind of move on. Now I'm very carefully planning so that certain parts are dry before I go into other parts, because I don't want to do, if that red is wet, I don't want to do this green hillside right now because they might blur. So I'm going to do the distant hillside behind the barn, and then I'm going to do the roof. And notice that the roof and those two sections are not touching each other so that they won't blend. Sometimes you want them to blend, but I don't. So here we go. This is going to be, I'm not figuring out which brush I want to use. Okay, so this distant hillside is covered with dried leaves. It's fairly light. It feels like raw sienna. Dip it into that. A little bit of alizarin. I see some reds in there. And cerulean. And I'm just dipping right into the corner of my cerulean, picking it up. Okay, and I got, if you can see me mixing, it's a little bit of everything. And I'm getting what is sort of a, kind of a neutral. It's a color that you wouldn't put in a tube. I don't know what you'd call it. It's got a bit
Brown
of,
mud as opposed
it's a
to
brown,
black mud.
yeah, it's sort of a brownie. But it's made out of a red, yellow, and blue. Alizarin in this case, cerulean, and yellow, what do I call that one? Raw sienna, yeah. So I'm painting right through. Notice those white stalky trees. I'm painting right through them. I'll deal with that later. And I'm bringing this down. I'm not painting in that little Toyota truck.
You're not on that train going into the city.
I'm not on that train going to the city. I don't think I want that driveway to be so big. There we go. And I got a little bit of this up in here. Okay, so this is this. And I do want to go right up, and I'm going to a little bit between, so as well. Okay, that's done. And the next thing I'm going to do is the roof, and then I'll stop and let you guys paint. I'm going to use a little bit of, I see obviously a green roof. I got a little bit of new gamboge. I thought I'd use new gamboge because the forsythia is with the other yellow, the Windsor. So I'm using a different yellow, and I'm going to use my phthalo blue. It could be an ultramarine, but that phthalo, gives me that really limey color that I think
Phthalo.
that I think looks like metal. It's not a natural color,
Patina.
I suppose. Let me get a little bit more of it. I can really get myself in trouble with this paint. There it goes. Okay, up, up, up. I'm making a wobbly line here, the corrugation. Coming up to my forsythia. Put a couple lines in there. Ooh, that's getting too. All right. Now I'm just painting around my forsythia, and then I'm stopping. There are a lot of visitors today. Kim, are these all your fans?
I hope so.
Good.
Hopefully it's all in here. Oh yeah.
So I'm painting right up against that forsythia, making a few, breaking into it in a few places so that the forsythia looks like it's
A forsythia.
forsythia, right? And before I'm done, I'm going to paint a few lines on to create the texture of the corrugated roof.
While it's wet.
Well, yeah, just a few lines in here.
Okay.
Oh, did you wet the roof?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
It's too small to wet. I didn't want to
Alright.
do that. So hi there. How are you?
How are you?
Good.
I heard about you and I saw your stuff. My daughter's got one.
One of my paintings?
Yeah,
Oh, great.
nothing to it, right?
Piece of cake.
If you say it
How
quickly.
come I can't do it?
Well, you know, if you see yellow, you paint yellow. If you see blue, you paint blue. And
Well, that's nice. The ones you did that she's got, they're perfect. They're a likeness of the old barn.
Okay, I've made a suggestion of those that corrugation. I may have gotten myself into trouble with that. I don't want to get too much into it.
Yeah,
Judy,
Judy.
Yes, what was the
how are
color that
you,
you
Judy?
put down the right foreground behind the house? What was that again?
Oh, that's lovely.
Ultramarine,
She's been,
burnt sienna,
Raw sienna,
raw sienna,
alizarin,
alizarin.
and cerulean.
wow, he's doing very nice.
Cerulean's kind of that dirty
Very good.
Yeah.
blue.
Got it.
That's kind of good.
Okay, cool, thank you.
No,
You better watch this Judy,
everybody
man.
has their own.
She keeps me on my toes, right?
Trouble again. Oh, okay, everybody's got their own. So, but
Mm-hmm.
behind it, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
And you see this here, Heather. You see that the screen there? They can look at.
Yeah. Very nice.
If you're doing these corrugated lines, you got to make sure they are parallel with the edge of the roof. You don't want to have them at different angles. It's
Oh, our barn roofs don't look like that. I'm just kidding. Did you wet the whole roof first?
I didn't. It seemed like it was too small an area to. See you later.
from the center. Now just break it down into
Okay.
so they're all parallel.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good idea. That's the idea.
As long as you can see that.
Well, that's what, that way, if you kind of come up a little bit, you can flip it.
Right.
You can flip it along as you go to the.
Okay, so there we go. All right, we're getting there. We're getting there.
Take your time.
Okay, I'm going to move forward here. We've got this forest behind the barn. That's going to be kind of a big thing. But before we get into that, I want to take care of this distant hillside here. I see it as lighter than the green lump. That's probably where they have their septic, but I don't know.
Lighter than the lawn. Sounds exciting.
Doesn't it seem? Okay, I'm going to grab a little bit of ultramarine, a little bit of alizarin crimson,
Thank you.
and this. I'm painting this. In the picture, it's almost parallel to the green hump. I'm actually painting it. Let's get a little more blue in there. I'm actually painting it coming down toward the house, so it's leading your eye. This is just a decision I've made. I want your eye to go toward the building. So I'm moving that hillside right down toward the edge of that roof.
Nice.
And then just
Thank you.
filling it in.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, because it gets
I'm
dark.
good.
It gets dark.
Yeah, it gets filthy. Yeah. That's what shouldn't get filthy stuff. Shouldn't work on the filthy.
Okay, so that was pretty easy and it's fairly light. Now I'm going to go in with the green hillside. Which, as Barb said, I could have done it maybe a little sooner. I'm doing New Gamboge yellow and, what did I decide? And cerulean. I see this as being, okay, here we go. Boom. I'm going right over those fence posts because they're going to be darker. And this is a different green than the grasses. This is New Gamboge and cerulean. Right down.
Ooh, look at
Wow.
that luminosity.
Ooh.
Stop using it with big weights.
Too many syllables?
I didn't pre-wet it. It's just such a small area. I'm not bothering with that. And as I get, this is where all those grills and things are. I'm not worried about that. I'm going to put a little bit.
It's like that hillside from the one we did back in winter. The last one, that California hillside.
I'm going to do a little bit darker at the bottom here. Just slightly darker. Right up against the house there, shed. And there we go. Leave it, don't touch it, leave it. Okay, that's done. Okay, so I've done that hillside, a distant hill. Okay, I'll take a little pause there. That was a 4-minute brushwork. We're gonna have fun in the next section.
You mean we haven't had fun yet?
No, we're gonna really, well, we had fun with the forsythia. We're gonna have really fun with the background
Fun with
hillside.
The right side is the dark side.
What's that?
The dark side.
That's the last thing we're gonna do.
This is now you have to put.
We can put a green in there if you want.
Okay, Ned, I have a question.
Sure.
Okay, if, let's say, what I've done is I've made a color and put it on, and it's just not
the color that I want. I mean, it's the mountain behind, on the right-hand side behind the, shed.
Yep.
And so it's coming out kind of a very warm brown, and I want it more purpley. Okay, so what do? Do you go back in with a purple color,
Well,
or
is it-
do you just
Okay,
leave it?
if it's
if
still,
that's the way it goes?
yeah, is it still fairly light? I mean, I'm sorry, is it still fairly moist?
Yes.
Okay, then just take blue and drop it right into it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that'll take the warmth out of it, and it'll darken it a little bit, but
It's very warm brown.
yeah.
And I was like, okay, what do I do with this?
Well, if you don't like the warmth, just add a little bit of ultramarine, which is a nice, clear, transparent color, and it'll take the
But
warmth out of it. Yeah,
I can just add it to, oh, it is, it's coming out more.
just put it right on
Right.
there. Yeah,
Yeah, you went right through the fence and all.
I did,
Okay, good.
because I see the fence as being silhouetted.
Exactly.
I'm not trying to paint around all that. 'Cause
Right.
if that was to be a white picket fence, I would paint around it, but I don't want. It's in the shadow.
Gotcha.
Fortunately for me, right?
With the white picket fence, you would have rejected the photo outright.
And we would have put it in the Toyota too.
Never thought of it that way, thank you. So whenever you see like a silhouette like that, you don't have to worry about it, yeah.
Okay, how are we doing?
Getting there.
Getting there. I'm ready to move.
Do you know how to? I just don't know whether you can express this. How do you make the colors that blends more naturally? This.
Well, when you, yeah, this is drawing now, right? When you put the colors on, you just put them on, and you don't want to go back and forth with them. You just put them on, and hopefully they blend or something, you know.
Okay.
And if they don't look right, then you just add a little bit more color and let it blend, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So when I put more color onto it, I still go in just one direction.
Yeah. It's not so much direction. You just want to. You don't want to be going like this, you know.
Oh, when I apply onto it, I'm doing this already.
Yeah. Okay.
So and
And
you're
you
saying,
just want it wet enough that the colors are all blending.
okay, I see. Oh, all right.
Sometimes it's the amount of water you put on your brush.
Okay.
Like this brush doesn't hold a lot of water.
Oh.
Do you have other brushes like this?
Oops. I never used it.
This is a good brush.
Okay.
Pair of pliers will tighten that up. Or maybe chomp down on it with your back molars.
Come up with this.
I have a question. Can I go back into my red barn? Because mine is too bright. Once it's dry, can I go over it again?
If it's too bright, just take a brush with a little bit of water and go over it. And if you want to blot it with a paper towel, you'll pick up some of the color.
Thank you.
Okay. So
That brush holds more water.
okay, how do you tell? How do you know?
This is almost like a stiff. It's like an oil painting brush. And this I use towel. This will hold more water.
Okay, I see.
The other thing you can do is if you have other pieces of this paper, like scraps or whatever,
Yeah.
test it out.
Oh, okay.
Test.
Can you do that? Oh, yeah.
Good idea.
And I leave a testing situation over by like the laundry area, so as I'm walking
Yeah.
by.
Judy does like this.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, like
Little
that.
practice pieces.
Okay, I see.
All right, Steve, change your water and then I'll get started.
Take a sec.
Okay, I'm going to do the hillside behind the building, behind the shed. I see a lot of pine trees in there with some good, nice color in them. And I'm going to take some raw sienna and ultramarine blue. And this is going to be my color for, I got too much water on my palette right now. Oh, okay, here we go. Here, now look at these trees. They have these nice kind of upward lines to them. Come on, let's get, I'm trying to watch that.
And you always go from the tree out.
I do.
Okay.
Because when
It took me a few years to kind of comprehend.
and I'm gonna do that. And I guess there's some more up here. Oh, gosh.
Nice.
They all look the same.
Boom, 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 boom. And then some go out here. I do want some sky holes in here. I like that. I'm doing the trunk in the same color. I may go back and darken it later. And come on. Oh, let's get a little more blue in there. Okay, a little bit darker at the bottom edges of these things. There we go, right down to the edge of that roof. Okay, and what am I doing now? Okay, now I'm going to be adding New Gamboge yellow and ultramarine. I'm not pre-wetting it. Come on, let's get that ultramarine going again. Here we go. Okay, I'm going to take this. I'm going to go right up against that roof line here. I'm going to take, and these are trees, so it's going to be a ragged edge. Boom, 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 boom. And I'm going to take this right on down around the corner of the eave of this. What is that?
That's my phone. Jeez. There's potential spam.
Great.
Mm.
Tell Elon Musk to
Yeah,
wait until after the class is over.
Well, I'm expecting the call from the rabbi down the street.
Okay, now here's where I'm going to be a little tricky. I do want to be able to see through. But some lines are going to go right up through here. And I see a hillside there. Oh yeah, there's definitely a hillside that goes up. There we go, all the way up there. Come on. A little raw sienna. Oh boy, I just... All right, boom, 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 boom. Here we go. And in a few places, I'm taking a very dark tone, and these are some of the trees, the tree trunks that I see going up through here. Okay, now I want to get my colors dark enough so that when I get around these fronds, these forsythia fronds, that I have a nice dark bluish green around them. Come on, let's get a little bit more blue into that. And I'm actually going to get a little bit of red into this too. A little bit of Windsor red isn't going to hurt me. Here we go. If you want to make green darker, add red. So here's my blue. I got to be kind of careful here because I'm really close to the forsythia. And I want to make You want to make the forsythia stand out. I'm just dotting, going into the forsythia there, pulling away. And now I do want to keep a sense that you can see through to the sky in places. So I'm, come on. Okay, down here. I don't want to have a lot of sky holes right above the forsythia. That might be a distraction for me. But over here, I'm going to have a few more places where I can see through. Come on, relax.
Breathe.
Breathe.
In
and out.
into the nose, out through the mouth.
Yep.
Of course, we forgot to do opening stretches before.
Grab a little bit of red in there. Never hurts to throw, whoops, got a bit crazy there, but never hurts to throw a little red. And then we have this. And when you do tree trunks, try to make sure they're not evenly spaced. They're irregular. I kind of like that. Okay, that works all right.
It's a little
A little bit crazy, right? I'm going to take a stiff 3/4 inch brush, and I'm going to, it's a thirsty brush. Take a look at me now. If you're painting, I'm going to be pulling up. I'm going to be taking paint off of the paper. These are those white tree trunks. And rather than paint around them to keep them white, I am taking the paint off.
This is just like being in the boatyard.
Yeah. Pulling that paint right up through. These are the light colored stalks. What's that boatyard thing? There's those three. And here's where I'm going to use the either a corner of a credit card or the edge of my chiseled brush, and I'm to create some light lines through the forest.
Or a plastic spoon.
Or a plastic spoon. You can get carried away with this because it's so much fun to do. So you've got to watch yourself. But I'm creating a little kind of a nice texture back here with light and dark. Cutting in and out. Oh, that area looks crappy up in here. Okay, let's get a little bit more dark right down here. Yeah, there. Okay, good. I'm gonna stop there. I'm gonna do something more with these trees later on, but enough. There's a lot going on at those. With these pine trees, so I'll let you have some fun with that. This is a fun part. This is good, cool.
He says that now, after he's been groaning.
marine and
Raw sienna.
raw sienna? Okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
Yep. Like if I was doing a maple tree, I'd use new gamboge and ultramarine or something. But for the pines, I think raw sienna works pretty well, or it does for me. I don't know.
Ultramarine and raw sienna.
There's always factory green.
Yeah. Oh, you can grab some
Just kidding.
Hooker's green and ruin your painting. No, that's my opinion, but that's right. Ooh, and I'm definitely cleaning my water because the greens with the blues are really making this thing a mess. Good, nice.
Thank you.
We got a lot to do still.
I think I'm gonna stop and then do something later.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm gonna do. I don't
I
wanna-
think I'm gonna give my brain enough time to like grow some new neurons to understand it all.
There you go.
Right, Judy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
So you can always count on Judy for understanding.
Yep.
Hey.
It's a lot of moaning and groaning.
I thought I was the best moaner and groaner though.
You are.
Well, they're all
No.
imitating you, Judy.
Yeah.
Okay.
we set all of our sites of inspiration about running.
Okay, Rudy, we're gonna do that later. We're gonna do it really dark later. It's the last thing we do.
And I'm not doing anything, but I just want to get the
Yeah, just this in here, we're gonna do that last.
Yeah, I only do, I just put a little bit.
Okay, all right.
That's it. Yeah,
Now is this drawing, you wanna put in the trees in there?
I want to put them really big on the roof top.
Yeah.
But is the shade not good?
It's all right, fine.
I want to, I want to put a little bit green in here.
Yeah, put some green down here, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Little green there. Little green.
You came to the right place.
The right spot.
Right. You can tell your parents.
We're all going to the loony bin here.
There we go. Green, all right. Put the green next to the blue, and the blue next to the green. Okay. Now, that's that one. Wow.
All right, I'm gonna move forward. I'm gonna do some of the distant trees on the left. They have no leaves on them. They're very kind of wispy. I'm gonna take a little bit of raw sienna, which I seem to be using a lot of today, a little bit of Windsor red, and a touch of ultramarine to darken it up a little bit. I keep grabbing the ultramarine. It has some. Okay, I like the red notes in there. Okay, so I am just. What was that noise? I am just using my brush to suggest the canopy of these trees.
Even though they don't have.
Ellen can feel free to get each and every single one of the branches.
Okay, Ellen, we're talking about you here. Okay, let me get a little bit more right around here. And then I'm going to use my brush just to make a few few dark lines that will become the trunks of these. Come on around here, Kim. And continuing with that up here, continuing that up there. Maybe this goes that way. And I don't like that diagonal, so I'm going to make a diagonal going over this way. And a couple more. Oop. And these all start right at the top of this hill. They're not going into the hill at all. Here we go, up there, there. A couple more here. So you want to feel like there's a lot of stuff going on there. And while I have that going, I'm going to go back over to these almost like birch trees, these light trees over here. I'm going to put a little bit of a tone on the right side of them to give them some bulk. I'm leaving that white part, but I'm just putting a shadow side onto the other side. And this makes these look 3 dimensions. I can do that on some of these. Some of these up here, I can outline them a little bit. Okay, and if you notice, these trees all create shadows. So these trees will have shadows that dwindle off to the side here. We'll put a couple more trees in here. And let's see, I'll put another little one up here. Okay, there's that. Okay, I'm gonna pause there. Okay, keep those wispy in the background, took care of that. And while we're there, I'll do these fence posts. They're in the, they're just silhouetted, so this is not real tricky painting here. Okay, so do those distant trees, do the fence posts. And we'll pause there. The next most important thing is we gotta do this dark side, the dark side of the shed, and then the big shadow on the lawn, and then we're almost done. Oh boy, we got running out of time here.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Want me to put the trees in?
You gonna put the trees in now?
The big one? Yeah.
Yeah. It's dry enough.
Yeah. I want it to be really.
Good. Size of bush there.
That's not mine, it's Julie's.
Yeah, but
Judy.
okay,
Okay.
nice.
Judy, need some fresh water? No, I have to get some fresh water. Alright.
Just make sure she doesn't drink what she's already got.
Gonna get a bellyache.
Oh, you did the window.
Go to the window.
I love the way he talks to himself. He's a riot.
Don't talk to any strangers in a loud room.
They might answer you.
All right, I'm gonna do
That makes sense.
I'm gonna do the dark red side of the shed, and that's gonna take me a few minutes. But you know, once you get started, so I'm gonna use some Windsor red and ultramarine blue. There's a bright red, a little bit of blue, and I think it's getting a little too crazy. I may add some raw sienna, but let me just see how this looks.
Crazy. Somebody's crazy.
Yeah. I just got to get it dark enough. I don't want to do this twice, you know what I mean? I put that down. Let's see. I think I need it a little bit darker. Okay. So I'm going to go right up. I'm going to start right next to this edge, and I got to see how it looks as a dark side of that. Yeah, there we go. Go around that rock. Okay. Okay, so. Okay, you gotta keep a lot of paint on your brush. You don't want to keep.
That's a thick pigment.
Mm-hmm. You certainly don't want to pre-wet this one. Oh boy.
A little negative painting there.
Totally negative painting. This is really.
That's definitely something you want to do at home in private.
Squint your eyes and look, and do the shapes make sense?
Okay, so you can repeat what two colors we're using for the dark?
I'm using ultramarine and Windsor red, and occasionally I'm throwing in a little bit of raw sienna. You want to kind of squint and see if you can see the structure of your bush underneath all this.
That's how you bring up the dimension. Right?
Yeah.
What he's doing over here.
That's how I'm going to do it at home with music.
That's why. Trying to get the right color. Good luck.
Say it again, the dark colors, please.
Ultramarine blue.
Ultramarine,
Okay, the cadmium yellow,
cadmium yellow.
and maybe a little bit of the raw sienna.
You meant cadmium red.
Oh, cadmium, yeah, red. Sorry. Yep, you. Thank you, Barbara.
Cadmium red.
Cadmium red, ultramarine, and then that raw sienna.
Do these panels shift?
Oh, I mean, did it? It looks like it.
Do they?
My color's wrong.
Kim?
I think it popped out. Did that pop
Do they?
out?
Oh, they like on an axis?
Yeah, it's
So you can adjust them.
actually it's fixed there, but I did that on purpose, so people,
Yeah.
you know.
So you can make a thicker shadow box.
Mhm.
Boom, boom,
Yeah.
and boom, boom, and adjust it during the day.
It would be cool if we can adjust it, but the framer fixed it, so.
I think I know how to take care of that. Oh, Rick!
Hello.
Because especially when you start monkeying or when you start adding in metallic and reflection.
Mm.
Oh, here.
that noise?
Oh, it's the fan. It's the heat.
Yeah, this building has unique sound.
Yeah.
Yes.
Kib's getting to know it, right?
It feels a little bit strange when you're in this room and you think this would be a living room upstairs or something like that, and you hear water running,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and then you are, huh, the bathroom is right up me or what?
Well, they, some of the 4-inch drains, they use PVC instead of metal.
Okay.
So it just radiates sound.
Oh.
You used to use cast iron and stuff because it was much quieter. Well, and because that's what was available in those days.
Mm-hmm.
But cast iron pipe doesn't make as much noise, though it rusts.
Oh. Okay. I see.
And then the walls are paper thin, and everyone behind the walls has very good lungs and vocal cords, dogs included.
Are you talking about next door dog?
Yeah! It's like when he's got his dog along, it's very easy to forget that he's a chiropractor, not a vet.
That's true, yeah, right.
Okay, as I'm doing these clapboards,
Is Charles still around?
no. I'm making sure that the ones at the bottom go up toward the horizon, and the ones right about the line of the window are almost horizontal. And at the bottom of this,
Something. Rock wall, right? That's what-
yeah, now I gotta do that little rock wall, and I'm gonna just keep moving because we're pretty close to the end. So just a little bit of a alizarin and ultramarine down. Ooh boy, to knock down the brightness of that wall. But I want to go around the rocks that are in sunlight.
It's really that dark wall that brings out the forsythia.
It sure as heck does, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's why I kind of save it to the end. The darkest darks right at the end.
And I have just the place to paint that down in Brooklyn.
Mhm.
With a nice comfortable chair.
And I'm going to knock off this new gamboge ultramarine, and this will be the dark green shadow on the ground here. Why did this painting take so much longer than some others?
It's all the values.
Well, I think it's going around the forsythias what takes
That's
so
it.
long,
Mhm.
don't you think?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, there's that. There's that shadow, goes across there. The shadow also is up next to the house. I mean, right next to the barn here.
Well, that's a detail we're gonna do later, that's all.
Okay, I'm painting just a little bit of outline around some of these rocks that are in shadow. All right, that looks good. A little bit of shadow right down at the bottom of this ledge there. I think those gotta be a little bit darker. And the last thing I'm going to do is the shadows that come off of the forsythia onto the road. Onto the road. How am I going to do that? Okay, is this, okay, so a little bit of ultramarine. And these will be shadows that come over. Let's get a little bit more color on there. Over, and then they come across the road like so. Come over. And come down this way. Come down this way. Wow. And this is crazy because these are all the forsythia fronds. It's like crazy hairiness. What do you think, Bill? The old splatter thing, you know?
Time for the toothbrush.
I want that to feel like, I think this looks too bright over here, so I'm just going to take it down a notch.
So you put a retaining wall in the back?
Oh, I don't know what I have. That should be the driveway, but it's in shadow, so I'm just. And I think I'll put a little bit of splatter in here. And these stones seem a little bit bright, so I'm gonna take them down a notch. That might be it.
Oh.
It's interesting how that noise bothers some people. Doesn't even
No, it's
until he says something. I don't
your
notice
frequency's
it.
in it.
I don't.
I don't even hear
It's
it.
like white noise, I just.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I don't hear it.
It sounds like a blizzard during winter. To me, anyway. What does it sound like? Children playing in the spring for you?
I don't hear it. Doesn't have depth, so that's why.
Oh, okay. See, I'm very shallow with no ideas.
All right. So I think I'm about done. I've done some details in the building, and those of you at home, you can keep working, or you can come back to this in the afternoon with more energy. Made these look a little bit ragged down here. Put in the stones, a little bit of sense of the forsythia bush, toning down that sandy road. And I think I kind of like that simplicity there. Glad I didn't put in the lawn furniture over there behind the
Oh, that would have driven Ellen over the red.
So this is like a horse barn. So that would be for a horse back there, and that's a gate that opens up, and it's just the way life is.
Now it keeps his motorcycles. And...
Yeah, my only question on these things is how much I can take out all the time.
Here. Welcome. Good to see you. Did Andy come down?
Luckily, I didn't take out the house.
Okay. Yeah. Did Andy come down today? I didn't see him.
Yes, he peeked in. You missed him.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'd like to give him a wave.
Yeah, he said he peeked in.
Oh. All right. So did you get hot coffee by the time he got up to you?
Yeah. He always brings me a hot coffee.
That's great. Love it.
Cheap Joe's is when I got it, but they're closing down now. You might be able to still order it. Might be able to-
Okay, I just strengthened that shadow. I'm not sure that helped much.
Oh, and you stuck some red into that fence. All right.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe just throw some more. A little bit of splatters to break up those areas there. Okay, I gotta stop, or otherwise I'll start messing around with it too much. There we go. I'm gonna stop the recording of this, but we can still continue to talk and ask questions. Anything else? Stop recording. Boom.
Recording stopped.
Step away from the painting.
Yeah, and I'll look at this later this afternoon and maybe decide to make a few adjustments. But basically, we're done.
We all still have a full head of hair.
All right. I'm just gonna have to.
It really
Define it more.
It's pretty tough, isn't it?
Better alternative.